Well, it was a survival thing, to be honest with you. There's nothing beyond that. The way it happened, I can just describe to you real quick. We were on the floor of the House in the middle of the debate, that we were, that it was widely advertised we were doing today regarding the electoral votes and certifying the votes. And, the Senate had just left, the Vice President had just left, the Senate had retired over to the Senate chamber. We were on the floor of the House. We had just started debate. Several people had spoke. And then all of a sudden, the Capitol Police came into the chamber and locked the doors and posted on the inside of the chamber. And we'd already had a couple of times over the last several hours prior to that where had been bomb threats in some of the House office buildings, and they'd been evacuated and then reoccupied and then evacuated. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, there must be a bomb threat," but I knew right away it wasn't a bomb threat, because when there's a bomb threat, you don't lock people inside the chamber and post people with weapons inside the doors. And I knew immediately that someone had breached security and they were inside the building. And so they said, "Hey, everybody, just be calm, just stay in your seats, and let's figure out what's going on here." So there were quite a few members in the House chamber at the time. On the floor of the House. And so we're just kind of waiting. And then all of a sudden we heard like a lot of yelling and a lot of loud noise out. There's all kinds of commotion. And then you can hear like just a pop, 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 right? And they were like, "Hey, everybody, get your gas mask. We may have to evacuate in a second. Tear gas is being deployed in the Capitol, and we may have to evacuate, and we'll be going through to a tear gas area." And so that's when you realize, like, wow, there is somebody in the building, and it's not just somebody. There's more than one in the building, and that's when it kind of really set in that this is really serious. This is not a precaution. And so we immediately got our gas mask out. Nobody actually donned them, but we had them all ready to go. Everybody had them out of the wrapper, undone, ready to put on. And suddenly, the doors were locked, and there was just violent banging on the door. They were trying to breach the doors. They were slamming into the doors. So the doors in the chamber were just rocking back and forth, and they were trying to beat the door down essentially. And so several of us were like, we were kind of locked inside. We had a few Capitol Police officers in there with us, but not a ton. And they were watching the doors on the other end over by the speaker's lobby. And so we were on the end where people typically come in, where you see the president and the Speaker of the House and everybody walk in, for inauguration stuff, that in that middle aisle. We were standing right there. And so we just immediately, there was one Capitol Police officer in there, said, let's get some furniture and put it in front of the door. So we started just finding furniture in there, big cabinets and stuff, and just several of us just started picking up furniture and piling it in front of the door to try to stop them from coming through. And we actually were going to extremes of we took some podiums that were in there, some chairs, broke the legs off of them so that we could use them as weapons, because for all practical purposes, we didn't have anywhere to go. And it looked like they were going to be entering the chamber any minute. And so there were 4 or 5 of us there that said, "Hey, we don't have any choice but to find something that we can use as a weapon, stand there so that when they come through that door, they get greeted with, an offensive posture, and maybe we can take them off guard and we can, keep them out, or, get past them or something." So it was just kind of like, it was a fight or flight kind of thing. And so we just stood there and we were waiting for them to come in with these legs of these tables and stuff that we broke off. And about that time, I heard pop, 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 and the glass started shattering. And I think it was shots that were being fired through the top of the glass. And that's when several people, including myself, just yelled, "Shots fired," and we just kind of hit the ground. And that was when the Capitol Police officers that were on the other side at that point decided, "Hey, it's worth the risk to go out this back way and get everybody out of here, because they're about to breach the House chamber." And so that's what we did. They evacuated us out the other side. They had Capitol Police officers in front of us. They had Capitol Police officers behind us. There was a large group of us. They, just ran us through, kind of a circuitous route to a secure area. And, that added a little bit to the stress, because I'd only been there a few days. I didn't really know where we were going or where was safe and where was not. And we didn't know how many people were in the building. We didn't know if they were surrounding us or if they were just on that one side where they were trying to beat the doors down. And I'm really glad we got out of there, because I didn't have TV or radio or anything. But when we turned the TV on, now that we're still locked down in the Capitol area right now, but whenever I turned Fox News on, I saw that they got into the chamber of the House. They got into the Senate. They were in the offices in the Capitol. So they did breach those doors. They did come in there and they stormed the place. So we got out just in time. They got us to a safe area, and we're all safe now. I mean, unfortunately, I'll say, it's a tragedy that someone was killed in this. And there were several police officers, Capitol Police officers, that were seriously injured protecting the members of Congress. And so I just want to say thank you to them for their bravery. They were very seriously injured, several of them. And, we wouldn't have got out of there if they hadn't protected us and ushered us to somewhere where we were safe.